I don't have a need to maintain moral purity. Like, I represent the good guy. I represent the bad guy. Like, I'm a weapon. You point the weapon. And a weapon in the hands of someone who's a good person can protect and save. And a weapon in the hands of a villain is a very dangerous thing. But I'm the weapon. And I don't always believe in the client. But I don't just represent the client. I represent the system.
100%.
And I always believe in the system. Like, I think our legal system is a good legal system. It's got problems. Like, we have the worst legal system except for all the other ones, you know? And I believe in it. And I think you get to be part of justice happening.
Yeah, it's interesting. My husband always says this line from Ender's Game, which is
Great book.
About war. Yeah, and how we will debate the morals of war after we've won it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think there's a lot of similarities.
Yeah. Well, and I think your husband would understand what I consider to be, the world needs bad men. We keep the other bad men from the door.
I think that's true.
And I think that that's something what what we have to do. And I think that a lot of the first 20 years of my profession was about becoming a weapon in a courtroom and honing that craft and honing that skill. And about 5 or 6 years ago, because I wake up at 4 a.m. every day and it's really quiet, I just started writing the book just as sort of something to do, to use a different muscle. And I started to write this sort of like reverse how-to book. It was like a how not to screw up your marriage. And I suddenly like had a book. I found I'd written a book. Like like if you write a page a day, in a year you got a book, you know? And I remember thinking, oh, this is a completely different thing. Like, and I wonder if this will hurt the world's perception of me as this like weapon and as this. And I'm very happy to say it hasn't.
No. Tell them the title in the UK again. I really like
the title. Yeah, so the title in the US is How to Stay in Love, Practical Wisdom from an Unlikely Source. And in the UK, which is why I love the UK, is How to Not Fuck Up Your Marriage. Which I thought
I like it better.
I like it better. Yeah, I like it better.
But I do like this cover a lot too. And I think one of the interesting parts too, I've met, like, we have a dear friend whose name is Roy Altman, and he is one of the youngest, I'm going to get it wrong. He's a judge in Florida. Okay. And I think one day potentially will be on the Supreme Court. And he is an appointed judge.
Okay.
Federal judge.
Okay.
And anyway, his memory recall of both the law and quotes and scripts reminds me a lot of you in
amazing.
A different way.
It's a wild thing.
It's a weird skill you guys have. But it's in the book too, and in your quotes, which is this interweaving of 25 years of experience from being an attorney, but also this like double life you have of reading all of these laws continuously. Yeah. And then, I mean, I have to assume that you've mentioned a few poets.
No, I read constantly. I love literature. I love poetry. I love film. I love art. I've always been a person who loved to travel and to sort of take in things from other cultures. So I think that everything I do is infused. Like my Brazilian jiu-jitsu, my interest in feudal Japan and sort of the ideas of like, Bushido and the warrior code and things like that, that infuses my practice. Like my undergraduate degree in psychology and my interest in Carl Jung, my interest in psychedelics, like all of the things these have all infused what it is that I do. My upbringing, I was raised very religious. I was raised very dogmatically Catholic, and then went all the other way and became a total atheist, and then somehow found myself back in like this happy agnostic middle place. I think that all of it infuses, the way that I think how you do anything's how you do everything. I mean, I really do. I think that if we bring the fullness of ourself to whatever the task is, it's going to be infused with all the best parts of us. So
it's so good. What is your favorite? Just as like this is a curious question for Codie, not even for anybody listening, but like, you've mentioned a few poets and a few fiction books. Like, what are your favorites? What's your favorite poem of all time?
My favorite poem of all time.
Is it the Brodsky?
Probably would be a song by Joseph Brodsky. I think that's a beautiful, beautiful poem.
That's number one.
Yeah, I love that one. Of poems, I think Allen Ginsberg, some of his poems are incredible. I would say Let It Enfold You by Charles Bukowski. Charles Bukowski. Yeah, so I would say probably my two favorite poems other than a song by Joseph Brodsky would be Bluebird by Bukowski, and Let It Enfold You. Let It Enfold You, I think, is I still can't get all the way through Bluebird without crying.
Get out.
Like if I read Bluebird out loud, I get halfway through it and start crying.
Oh, mine is On Writing by Bukowski. Have you read that one?
That's
fucking that kill, especially as an author. That line about like the libraries of the world have yawned themselves to sleep. Buy another book as a business card. You're just like, fuck. You're right. Don't write a shitty book.
But it's interesting. You like cynical Bukowski.
Yeah,
I like this world has exhausted me and somehow I haven't given up, Bukowski. Like Let It Enfold You is about like how broken he was and he still found beauty in the world. And Bluebird's about that too. So those are my two favorite poems.
But I don't think On Writing is cynical by Bukowski, because the last line's about like, either it'll die inside you or you'll die if you don't write it. And like,
no,
so
it's meant to be
right?
inspirational. It's not.
But he was also a psychopath too. Like, some of his stuff.
Some of the greatest artists, I think, are in All Genius. There's madness. I mean, I've represented some of these people in their divorces. Some musicians that are incredibly gifted, and they're really disturbed people. But authors, I mean, I would say, I think the book that I find most powerful to me is All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr. I think that's a beautiful book, because I think what it's about isn't what it's about. I think it's about like, what does it mean to be human, and love, and the complex nature of human beings. I just read an amazing book by an author named Jason Green. It's a pretty new book. It's called Unworld. Arguably, it's about like artificial intelligence, but it's really not. It's about grief and loss and love. It's still in hardcover. It's a brand new book. I bought it as like on a whim. Anthony Jeselnik recommended it, and I was like, I'll get it. And I bought it, and I was going to Vegas just for like to play blackjack and have a nice like fun weekend. And I'm sitting by the pool at the Palazzo crying.
Yeah, that was gonna say that.
Like crying like a little like because there's some passages in it that are just so well written that I would get mad at it, because I was like, I'll never write anything that good. But also like some of it is just it's so moving of a book. It's just about like, what is consciousness? What does it mean to love someone and lose them? And I'm sitting by the pool at the Palazzo, like really like tears coming down my face, trying to like look like, oh no, I'm just, I got sunscreen in my eyes. But it was so Unworld by Jason Green. That would be another one. But I mean, poetry has always spoken to me. My mother was very moved by beauty, and I was very lucky for that. I'm thinking about her a lot today, because it was 10 years today. And whenever I think about her, the longer that she's gone, the more I see the pieces of me that are born of her, because those pieces are like the only way I get to see her now. And something about her that was so amazing that I didn't understand when I was a kid is how she would just be moved to tears by things. Like she'd be singing along with a song and just start crying. And I, as a kid, I was like, what's the matter? Did you skin your knee? What are you doing? And it was just that she's like, oh, it's just so pretty. And I would find myself going like, oh, wow, okay. And that was okay, and I never let the experience of being a man beat that out of me.
Yeah, to still have the ability to have
to still be moved by beauty. I would cry from beauty much more than I ever cry from pain, And so I think poetry is still a way to deeply connect to that.
With this book, who do you hope reads it, and what do you hope they take away?
Gosh, there's a whole bunch of people I hope read it. I hope that people who are just getting into relationships read it, because I think it could give them some skills that they can use early on, because I think it's a whole lot easier to stay in good shape than it is to get super heavy and then try to lose all the weight. So I think it's a whole lot easier to stay in love than it is to be in love, let it fall apart, neglect it, and then try to find your way back. But I hope that some people find it who maybe are starting that slide and say, okay, is there a way to turn this thing around? I hope some people who are way down deep in that valley of it will read it and either realize, okay, that maybe there's a path, or okay, there isn't. Because I think, you and I have both found in our lives that sometimes happily ever after means happily ever after separately. And that, the barn burns down and now I can see the moon, and I think that, you are the sum of all of these things, and as two people who divorced and then found love after our divorce. And even my ex-wife, she's been remarried for 15 years to an amazing guy. Our oldest son just got married a couple of months ago, and we're all at the wedding together. And I'll tell you a funny story. We're sitting at the wedding together, and my now daughter-in-law, they were law school sweethearts, my son, and she's this brilliant lawyer, and she's beautiful, and she's smart. She's just an amazing young woman. And they wrote their own vows. And so my son, gave his vows, and they were very lovely. He has some of his dad's performance skills. And but he's more intelligent. He's more like academic and wonky. And then she started her vows. I'm going to try to get through this without getting misty-eyed. And she's like, "You're the strongest man I know. You make me feel so safe." And I was like, shit, I taught him the cow says moo. I had some piece in that. And this was the goal. This was the goal, to make that kind of man that a woman that amazing would feel that way about. And so she's reading these vows, and all of a sudden, just that's it. Tears start pouring out of me. And my niece who's sitting next to me, very subtly, hands me a tissue, and thank you. And my ex-wife who's sitting next to me, who I'm still friendly with, leans over and goes, "You're such a fucking pussy." And I was like, yep, that's my life. That's my life right there.
You need both.
You do. Yeah. It was like the real yin and the yang.
You got him.
Yeah. It was amazing. It was an amazing moment. And I told my son about it later. He's like, yep, that's mom. That's mom.
I feel like I kind of like her.
Yeah, she's great. Oh, I do too. Please, one of my there's a lot of people I love I wouldn't want to be married to.
Oh, same.
She would say that about me. She was like, oh, 100%. Jim's great in the rearview mirror. He's a great co-parent. I'm a great ex-husband. By the way, the skill set for an ex-husband, the resume for an ex-husband, totally different than for a husband.
Yeah.
I'm bad at husband. Husband, I have to be like, yeah, tell me about your day. Oh, really? I'm not. I'm like, come on, we got to land this plane. Let's go. Come on, I got to skip to the end, And but ex-husband, reliable, punctual, reliable when it comes to the kids. The check shows up on time. Everything great. I was great at being an ex-husband.
I always joke with my husband. I'm like, nannies. I have a lot of rules when it comes to nannies. Yeah. I want to end on this one, actually. I want to get your take on it.
Yeah.
And my two main rules are I have age and weight minimums. Okay. And they're pretty high.
They're pretty high.
Because I've seen what people do with their nannies.
Well, there's a chapter in my book called Everyone's Fucking the Nanny.
Okay, it's true. So am I right?
Yeah.
Do age and weight minimums help?
Oh,
what are the real?
No, they don't help.
God damn it.
They don't help that much. I mean, definitely don't go for the super hot Polish nanny.
Brazilian
bad idea.
Pair?
No, terrible idea.
Absolutely not.
Well, I'll tell you two nanny stories very quickly.
Okay.
One is I tell in the book. There's a story about a guy. They hired a nanny. The husband decided to try to convince the nanny to have a threesome with he and the wife without telling the wife he was going to try to encourage her to do this. And then went to the wife and said, oh, the nanny wants to have a threesome with us. And the wife was like, I don't think we should do that. And the nanny was like, I don't think we should do that. And he was like, no, the other one wants this. And he somehow convinced both of them. And so they ended up having a threesome. It would happen every couple of months. They'd have threesomes together. And then one night, wife is out, and he says to the nanny, hey, she's not home. Why don't we, the two of us? And she's like, whoa, that wasn't the deal. The deal was I thought we were doing a group thing. And he was like, oh, no, it's no big deal. She'd be fine with it. And the nanny a couple of weeks later says to the wife, by the way, the other night he approached me and said it would be okay with you. And the wife was like, yeah, that's not okay with me. The PS of the story, the wife left him for the nanny. And they lived happily ever after. Last time, this was 12 years ago, they're still together.
That is the best karma I've ever heard in my whole life.
Yeah, so I was like, that is the risk of trying to convince the nanny to get involved in a threesome. But I talk about in the book what I call the nanny fascination. And I actually think that there's a fairly benign explanation for it. And that is that the nanny in some ways represents a lot of the aspects of the wife before you guys had kids. She has a life outside the home. She has interests outside the home. She is still something of a mystery to you and you're a mystery to her. She likes the father because he's like the dad and it's kind of cool. And, and he's also, there's an economic aspect to their relationship that makes it very simple, that it's like, I pay you, you take care of the kids. And what I said, the solution to it is actually not hire really unattractive nannies, because there are some examples even of celebrities who have left for far less attractive people. There's a lot of celebrities who've left for nannies, and a lot of non-celebrities who've left for nannies. I actually think the secret is a pretty easy one, and that is reclaim the parts of yourself that were part of the nanny. Like, I think that a woman, particularly when you have children, there's a tremendous temptation to spend a lot of your time and energy focused on your children, to take whatever time you have left over, focus it on your husband. And I think that there is tremendous value in really continuing to have the you, the me, and the we, and to take time to be yourself, like to do the yoga class, do the Pilates class, go out with the friends, join the book club, do whatever it is that made you uniquely you and kept you as something other than just a mom. Because being a mom is such an all-consuming task that, of course, it's understandable to say, I want to devote all of my attention and time to it. But there is tremendous value for you, for your spouse, for your kids, for the betterment of this ecosystem that is your home, in maintaining your connection to your true self and who you are independently of the family.